Thank you for those wonderful introductions from our EBHS concert band. Thank you all. You did a phenomenal job. Everybody's looking great today. On behalf of the Patriotic Committee and the Town of East Bridgewater, I want to welcome everybody to our 2026 Memorial Day service. Thank you all for being flexible and coming over to the auditorium with us today due to the inclement weather. For all that can, let's please stand as our flag is to my right, your left, and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. You may take your seats. Thank you. And next we'll have an invocation from Reverend Father Paul Ring from St. John's Catholic Church here in East Bridgewater.
My friends, let us pray. Good and gracious Creator, we thank you for the gift of this day, for this opportunity to commemorate, to memorialize, and to remember those brave men and women of our armed forces that gave what Lincoln would call the last full measure of devotion, that our scriptures remind us that there is no greater love than one has than to lay down one's life for one's friend. We thank you for these friends of our nation who gave this measure of devotion, who gave their lifeblood so that we might be free. May we continue to honor their sacrifice by living lives of freedom, of dedication, and of justice and peace, so that no other members of our nation may have to pay that cost. We thank you for those who continue to answer the call to serve in our armed forces. May they be kept safe from all harm, and may they, in their work, continue to honor the memory of their brothers and sisters in the armed forces who gave their lives so that all might be free. We commemorate this day to their honor, to their memory, and to their lives, so that we may never forget and always remember the gift that they gave to us as a nation. May we ask all this in God's name. Amen.
And next up, I would like to introduce from the Select Board here in East Bridgewater, Peter Spagone, Jr.
Good morning, everyone. Filling in for Carol Julius, so I came a little unprepared, but ready to go. So first I want to say a big thank you for the day's events. I want to thank the East Bridgewater Patriotic Activities Committee, the Veteran Service Officer, especially Chris, the Fred Bates Morris, Post 91, the American Legion, and the service organizations of East Bridgewater. Being unprepared, I have to go back to something I heard many, many years ago that's resonated me all the way up to today and probably into the future. 4 simple words: their sacrifice, our freedom. And that's what we're doing today. That's what we'll do every day as we have this annual event and every day that we have these memorial services. So thank you and God bless.
And next up, we'll have State Representative Allison Sullivan Alameda.
Good morning. I apologize. I would have came a little closer if I knew I was speaking next, so thank you for bearing with me. I do want to give a round of applause to the band. It was a beautiful presentation, so thank you guys. So I've had the privilege to attend Abington, Whitman, and now East Bridgewater's Memorial Day services, and they look a little bit different this year. I almost can't see everyone because of the lights, but we're indoors, right? It's raining outside. We're actually blessed to have the band here to be able to perform and be able to hear it in a very well lit room. So thank you all for being here this morning, taking time out of your morning on this Monday morning to come here and remember those that have served and sacrificed in their families. Each ceremony I've heard different remarks. Abington, they talked about Reverend Christy Coburn talked about how some people think of this weekend as a sales weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend sales, Happy Memorial Day, all the different terms that don't hit well with families that have loved ones that never returned home. Or if they did return home, they were under an American flag. And so it's not Happy Memorial Day for those family members and their loved ones. It's a day of remembrance, reflection, and understanding that what we have been able to have here doesn't come free. And as Selectman Spigone said, freedom isn't free. And it's because of those brave men and women that served and sacrificed, we are able to have these beautiful moments here in our country, in our community. In Whitman, Justin Evans spoke about a gentleman who walked the walls in the halls of Whitman Hanson and his service and his sacrifice. And on his last tour of duty, he gave the ultimate sacrifice. I do want to share a little story about a gentleman that I knew and his family. And I promise it's not recess time. Danny Facilian. Danny Facilian was an Abington High School graduate. His wife, his widow, lived around the corner from my family and I. And he was serving around the same time my sister was in active duty and serving overseas. I will never forget Danny Facilian's mother-in-law showing up to our parents' house because my sister returned home and her son-in-law didn't. Every day is Memorial Day for those families. Every single day, they are burdened with the reminder that because of that service and sacrifice, they have gone without. So I ask you today to remember Danny, his wife Erin, and his whole entire family, and all the brave men and women who have served and sacrificed, especially I believe it's been 13 members in the past year that have not returned home. Remember them not just today, but every day. And as I said in Whitman, and I'll say it here in East Bridgewater, if you ever see, especially the young kids here, if you ever see a gold star license plate, you'll see it. It's very noticeable. It says GS with a gold star on it. That means the person driving that vehicle has lost a loved one in active duty. If you can, thank them for their service and their sacrifice. If they're in the line behind you in Dunkin' Donuts, maybe buy them a coffee. Remember that because of their service and their sacrifice, we have what we have today. So today's not Happy Memorial Day. It's a day of remembrance, so thank you.
All right, next up, we have East Bridgewater Army vet Jacob Gurney, and he is with the EB Commercial Club today, Board of Directors.
Good morning. My name is Jacob Gurney. I'm a board of director at the East Bridgewater Commercial Club. The EBCC is once again honored to be part of this remembrance. The Commercial Club was founded in 1942 by a group of men called the Puddlers. It consisted of 62 members and was formed to provide a meeting place for servicemen on leave. For this reason alone, it is a perfect fit that our club is involved in this annual celebration to honor the men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. Our nation turns 250 years old this year, and our veterans are most of the reason for that. I am proud to say I served in the U.S. Army with the 82nd Airborne Division and served in Afghanistan and Iraq in the early 2000s. I know firsthand how much the support of friends, family, and our town means when we come back to see everybody. As always, we would like to invite everyone back to the club immediately after this for a free chicken barbecue in the Peter Moscas Pavilion. For those who don't know, Peter was an EB resident who at the age of 20 paid the ultimate sacrifice in Vietnam. This event is open to the public and is free of charge and includes a cash bar. Our address is 1 Nelson Ave, East Bridgewater. Thank you to our men and women who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom and to the brothers and sisters that are still here. I got a quote from General Ridgway, commander of the 82nd Airborne in World War II. The highest honor a soldier can have is to defend his country. The greatest sacrifice is to give his life doing it. Thank you, and I hope to see you all at the Commercial Club.
Before we move on, I just want to say a few words. I want to thank all of our veterans here in the front row. You guys have carried this community for years and decades. And one of our own, Jake, he's going to be the next generation. He's coming up behind you. So don't worry. We'll get more people to help you guys out because you guys do a phenomenal job here in our community. Next up, we've got a U.S. Navy vet, past King Lion, William Gilbert from the EB Lions Club.
Good morning, everyone. Let me put these on so we can see what I'm doing. I bring you greetings from the East Bridgewater Lions Club. We have several members in our Lions Club that are veterans. We're not a veteran organization, but we are a service organization for the community. We give away funds for scholarships, food pantries, like I said, scholarships again. But we're very active, and we are looking for new members. So if anyone here would like to join the East Bridgewater Lions Club, we'd love to have you. Once again, Memorial Day, originally Decoration Day, started on May 30th of 1868. It became a federal holiday in 1971 and was moved to the last Monday in May. It was a way to pay tribute to the men who had perished from the North and South during the Civil War. Over 600,000 people, servicemen, passed during the war. On Saturday, this past, I wear another hat too some days. I'm a Scoutmaster with Troop 32 here in East Bridgewater. On Saturday, the Scouts, we went out to change the old flags for new flags at the Old Cemetery and the Beaver Cemetery. The Old Cemetery has veterans from the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. It's right uptown here across from the town hall. The Beaver Cemetery is in the Beaver section of town, and that has veterans from the Civil War to present. It's a great service that the Scouts provide, but they receive a greater understanding on what it takes to keep our country free. On the last note, I'm very proud to be from East Bridgewater. Recently, a World War II veteran who was living at the Garrison Nursing Home passed away. He had outlived his family members. A call went out for help with his services, and the town and the local communities answered. He had an incredible send-off that was totally amazing. Thank you.
Next up, we have Dave Smith from the EB Kiwanis Club.
Good morning, everyone. As president of the East Bridgewater Kiwanis Club, it is my honor to be able to speak today as we gather to honor Memorial Day. Today is more than the unofficial start of summer, more than cookouts, parades, and long weekends. Memorial Day is a reminder that the freedoms we enjoy every day were secured through the courage and sacrifices of the men and women who gave their lives for this country. As we stand here today, we should remember that freedom is never guaranteed. It always comes at a cost. The liberties we often take for granted, the right to speak freely, worship freely, vote freely, and live freely, were preserved by those willing to give everything for the people they would never, ever meet. Memorial Day reminds us that remembrance itself is an act of service. Communities like East Bridgewater understand the value of service. We see it daily with veterans organizations, first responders, teachers, and coaches. Service is a thread keeping our community together. The mission of the Kiwanis is to improve the world one child and one community at a time. Our work may look differently from military service, but the principle remains the same, putting others before ourselves. Our local Kiwanis Club celebrates our local veterans in a number of ways, with a joint Veterans Dinner with the Commercial Club and our Field of Flags leading the way. Today is an opportunity to show our gratitude and recognition to our veterans. How can we honor them? We honor them by being engaged citizens. We honor them by supporting veterans and military families. We honor them by teaching the younger generation about duty, character, and patriotism. We honor them by treating one another with dignity and respect. As we leave here today and continue our Memorial Day traditions, I hope we carry with us the true meaning of today. Let us remember those who never came home. Let us remember families who carry losses every day. Their sacrifices gave us this moment. Their courage formed this country. And for that, we remain forever grateful. Thank you.
Next up, we have a Navy veteran, Ed Meany, from the Tri-Town Rotary Club.
First of all, I'd like to thank the school band. Great performance, and thank you for giving up your morning to be here with us all. Lights are bright, especially for an old man. 60 years ago, maybe a little more, I was a young teacher here in East Bridgewater. And at the intermediate school at the time, and then in the high school that doesn't exist anymore, eventually became its principal. Long time ago, but the student spirit and the spirit of East Bridgewater was strong. My club is the Rotary Club of the Bridgewaters. It's all of them, East and West and Bridgewater. We represent important areas of service. We try to help with food banks. We try to provide scholarships to young people, and scholarships. Some of you, I am sure, are beneficiaries of these scholarships. But the aim is service to our communities above self. That's the Rotary motto. It is a worldwide organization established in 1905, and we hold high values. And we apply a four-way test to all of our actions. And today we honor the memory of those individuals who placed service to their country above themselves, and they paid the ultimate price. Some of the veterans that are from the communities of East Bridgewater and Bridgewater included Red Brittain. Many of you know Red, and he was a longtime member of the Bridgewater's Rotary Club. Also, Russ Ball, who ran the YMCA for many years here in East Bridgewater, another Rotarian. So the tradition of service is strong in our club. I also know the tradition of service is strong in this community. Those of you, as I walked into the foyer of this auditorium, I saw a familiar face looking down at me. His name was Corporal Gordon Craig. He was at the old school, greeting every student who walked in to this building and to the old high school. His service reminds everybody of what it's like to be someone who puts others above themselves. Corporal Craig performed the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate service above self during his battle and career in 1950, shielding a grenade and saving the lives of his 4 fellow soldiers, inspiring them to complete their mission, placing the lives of his comrades above his own safety. He was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. And of course, you see that every day in the foyer of this building, and his sacrifice. Now, I was also a teacher and a principal when the next young man, Peter Moskis, was attending the school. And he, along with his friends, is Dennis here? Dennis Blackwell? No. Dennis also was another one of my students. He accompanied Peter's body home from the service, a fellow Marine. But the young men of that time in the 60s, they carried that same service that Corporal Craig carried, looking out for their fellow soldiers and caring about what they do and helping us to have a better life. Their sacrifices are what we honor today. What they did means something. It has value, and we should hold that in high esteem and never forget it, because they made the ultimate sacrifice so all of us can enjoy that freedom. Now, I like to end this with a little quote from former president, late President Ronald Reagan, talking about veterans and others, where they place service to their fellow citizens. He's talking about veterans, and he says, some people live an entire lifetime and wonder if they have ever made a difference in this world. A veteran does not have that problem. They make a difference. And you can make a difference in your community, in the world, by serving and helping others, because that's what it's all about. We enjoy the greatest prosperity and freedom in the world. Believe me, travel. You'll know it. You'll see it. You have something that's special. Don't let it go. God bless. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we will have Battle Hymn of the Republic by our EB High School Concert Band. Thank you. You guys are all over it today. Next up, I would like to introduce Brady Hudson. He'll be reading the Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. And like I said, I know he's heading out this year, but he has been a massive help in the community, whether it be with my show here in the town or all the different stuff he does. So again, Brady, come on up.
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that that government, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Abraham Lincoln, on November 19th, 1863.
Thank you, Brady. Next, we have East Bridgewater's own Air Force veteran, Paul Cannell.
How you doing? Thank you. I want to first, do some thank yous here because to do this at the last minute to come in here, I want to thank U.S. Army veteran Principal Bill Silva because without his, saying, yeah, what do you need? And making this happen and everything in this place, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Principal Silva. I also want to thank all, so I'm also the Patriotic Activities Committee Chair and the Commander of the Legion, and what goes along with that is this weekend is always the weekend that we decorate graves, we decorate the commons, we decorate the war memorials, and there's a lot of help that goes into that, and it's a lot of young help, which is great. We have our Girl Scouts who decorated the common with flowers in all the war memorials. We have Troop 32 who does, like Bill was saying, that did the Beaver Cemetery in the old graveyard. We have PAC 29 who does the Union Cemetery. They also help with the Central Cemetery, and they guide PAC 28, Little Scouts to make sure they're putting, just one flag per grave, not like 30 flags per grave. But all these young children and adolescents, they are serving the community very well, and I think we have a lot of good got a lot of good students that are ready to go, and I do want to thank Brady for doing this because I came in here and an hour ago I go, hey, does anybody want to read the Gettysburg Address? And he put his hand up and said yes, and that's to come in front of like all of you, this is a scary thing. I'm always scared when I'm up in front of you guys. But let me go on with my speech. It's really not a speech. It's a story. They answered the call, and it's by Charlie Gilbert. Thank you, Charlie, for giving this to me. The young brave men and women of East Parish, known today as East Bridgewater since 1823, have always answered the call to arms. In 1755, the East Parish of Bridgewater mustered 50 members for military service in the French and Indian War. Then, of the East Parish militia, drilled right here in this town common that that we're supposed to be on, the Bridgewater Company then joined the British Army and camped east of the Hudson River in the area of Albany. Some fought under General Winslow, some were with General Bradstreet. They took part in many important battles, including the capture of Quebec. When Fort William Henry was captured by the French and Indian allies, Major Samuel Thaxter was taken prisoner, but was lucky enough to escape from his Indian captors. East Parish lost one soldier during the French and Indian War, a man named Increase Robertson. On the 19th of April, 1775, when the alarm was received signaling the start of the Revolutionary War, Captain Robert Orr gathered his 41 Minutemen on this town common and left to meet up with Colonel John Bailey's regiment at Bridgewater. The men of Captain Orr's company marched 109 miles to answer their call to duty. During the war, some companies only served to answer the alarm. One company went to Squantum for 6 days in March of 1776, while another went to Rhode Island for 8 days in December of the same year. Some of the men also enlisted in the Continental Army for 3 years. While some were drafted for 9 months, 4 of the men from East Parish were at the Battle of Bunker Hill. In total, 257 men from the East Parish answered the call of service, and 32 of those men made the ultimate sacrifice for their young country. In the Second War with England, in 1812, the Bridgewater Light Infantry had its headquarters in East Parish. On Sunday morning, they received orders from the Governor Strong to go immediately to South Boston. Within a few hours, Captain Cyrus Alden assembled his 46 men on the common and left for Boston. The promptness of their arrival astonished the governor, who had not made suitable preparations for the troops. In the autumn of 1814, Captain Isaac Keith took his company of 59 men and marched to Plymouth to defend the coast. Only one man lost his life in the War of 1812. On April 12, 1861, with the firing on Fort Sumter, the beginning of the Civil War erupted. Only 14 short days later, on April 27th, the East Bridgewater held a town meeting. A vote was passed to raise the appropriate sum of money to uniform the volunteer company. Not only did the town vote to raise money, but voted significant resolution, which they declared the citizens of East Bridgewater this day in the town's meeting assembled to unanimously resolve that they will, to the extent of their ability, maintain and defend the integrity of the Constitution and the Union and uphold the government of the United States. Their willingness to commit themselves to their fullest extent and with any means possible is a true testament to the love and commitment they had for their country. About 376 men went into service to defend the Union. 48 made the ultimate sacrifice. April 6, 1917, the U.S. declared war on Germany, known as the First World War. It is also called the Great War, the war to end all wars. Fighting ceased with the signing of the armistice on November 11, 1918. 151 men went into service, and East Bridgewater lost 2 men, Fred Bates Morse and William Henry Pitts. When the American Legion Post 91 was formed in 1919, it was named after Fred Bates Morse. The Japanese bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941 was the beginning of World War II. East Bridgewater lost 17 of their brave young men. East Bridgewater then lost 4 men in Korea and 1 in Vietnam. Every year, the week before Memorial Day, with the help with the Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, veterans, and friends, we visit all 5 East Bridgewater cemeteries to replace old flags and graves with new ones. We don't just honor the 107 men who made the supreme sacrifice and are buried in the East Bridgewater Cemetery, but all veterans from all wars, for they have put their life on the line so that we can live free in this great country. In closing, I would like to say, those who fought the honorable fight, let them rest in God's holy light. May God bless those who cared to fight and sacrifice their lives, and may God bless you for caring enough to be here today. Thank you, and thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Paul. And again, I've been here for 7 years, and Paul has been an integral part in entire, whether it's our veterans ceremonies, whether it's our Memorial Day ceremonies, anything to do with the towns and the veterans, he's plugged in. And like I said, I really appreciate it. So another round of applause for Paul. Let me get to Ed, and then we'll give you, okay? So without any further ado, I would like to bring up Edward Sweeney, our U.S. Coast Guard. Not many Coast Guard veterans, but we are lucky to have two here in East Bridgewater, and they are heavily involved in many of the things we do. So again, thank you, Ed.
On Veterans Day, we honor those past and present that have served in the armed forces in service of our country. On Memorial Day, we take that time to both honor and remember those who have died in defense of our nation and allied countries around the world. I stand before you now to pay tribute to those missing in action and prisoners of war still unaccounted for. POW MIA Recognition Day is commemorated on the third Friday in September. The Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, DPAA, lists over 81,000 Americans missing from World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Cold War, Gulf Wars, and other conflicts. Out of those 81,000 missing, 75,000 of the losses are located in the Indo-Pacific, and over 41,000 of the missing are presumed lost at sea from ships and aircraft. This includes a lot of numbers here. They are people. 72,404 missing from World War II, 7,555 missing from the Korean War, 1,584 missing from the Vietnam War, 126 missing from the Cold War, and 5 missing from the Gulf Wars. Efforts to find and identify them, bring them home are constant. This last fiscal year, 2025, the DPAA located 231 members from past conflicts. During World War II, Imperial Japan and Nazi Germany were notorious for committing atrocities against prisoners of war. Undeclared wars against communist regimes brought the worst treatment yet to American prisoners. North Korea imposed long marches through freezing mountains with little to no food or medical attention. U.S. soldiers were often executed on the spot when captured. North Vietnam brutally and systematically tortured American prisoners in attempts to force them to confess to war crimes, participate in staged propaganda activities, or surrender military information. 3,201 World War II servicemen were imprisoned. 14,072 died in captivity. 1,140 Korean War service members were imprisoned. 700, sorry, I'm getting this a little messed up. 701 died in captivity. 725 Vietnam War service members were imprisoned, 64 died in captivity, 37 members were imprisoned during the Gulf Wars, all were released alive. These numbers represent not just soldiers, but human beings with families and loved ones, fathers and mothers, sisters and brothers, husbands and wives, children, grandchildren, friends, neighbors, and whole communities who grieve, waiting, never knowing, never experiencing the peace that comes with closure. How easy for us to take for granted the blessings of every day, feeling safe and secure. These Americans paid the ultimate price for us. May we never forget.
Thank you, Ed. Great job as always. We have one more speaker before we get to our roll call. Mr. Stan Litchfield, East Bridgewater veteran from the VFW.
My name's Stan Litchfield. I'm a Vietnam veteran, but I'm also the past commander with the VFW. On January 10th, 1997, I had the honor to conduct the services for Lieutenant John R. Fox, killed in Italy on a Saturday morning, Christmas Day, 1944. He was a forward observer. As he called to the command, he said, "Fire, fire." The return message was, "You're ordering the firing upon yourself." He said, "I know that." The following day, when we recovered the body, there was 100 Germans dead. Lieutenant Fox was dead. We found a letter in his pocket, they said, written to his wife, stating he was never coming home. Over the years, the United States government never recognized John Fox and the other 6 men. The difference between John Fox and me was our skin. Lieutenant Fox and the other 6 were colored. I was white. They asked if this could be corrected. I called Washington, D.C. I talked to a gentleman by the name of Bill James. A few hours later, we got called back for Kurt Rector, the National Cemetery Director in Bowen. The following morning, we met him at the VFW. On January 10th, we started the ceremony. It concluded in Washington, D.C. on January 13th with the presentation of Congressional Medal of Honor to the 6 colored men. There was 1 still living, and the following day they did the burial of 1 that was resumed. When John Fox died that morning, the nation wept. John Fox bled the same color I did. We're all red with inside. It should not take the federal government 53 years to recognize gentlemen. I've also had the honor to do a ceremony in Bear Cove. There's a ship in Boston Harbor with 17 sailors on it. On May 11th, 1944, while disposing of ammunition in Boston Harbor, they lost the ship. It's buried in 240-foot of water still. We did the dedication down there for a gentleman who wanted. We all gave something. We all gave our lives. But you've got to remember the veterans. I've had the honor to be to Arlington many times. I've had the honor to represent the VFW, and 50 people we brought for the dedication of the Korean Memorial. We also did the dedication of the Korean Memorial. Life is short. We never know what's going to happen. I've devoted my life since returning from Vietnam in 1968 to help the fellow veterans. You heard Representative Sullivan speak here today. I had the honor to know her father quite well when he started in politics in 1989 in Whitman, Mass. He later became the attorney, U.S. Attorney, ATF Director, and State Rep, and DA for Plymouth County. It takes a little to say thank you for your service. I know the director gave me 2 minutes to speak, but I also remember being in Salt Lake City, where I spoke for an hour and a half on the question with law winners, Tom Hunter, Tom Kelly. I've also had the honor to meet the gentleman who served 5 years in Hanoi, Lieutenant Commander Charlie Plum. I will never forget these memories, but the best way we can honor them today is by remembering them that came back and helped them continue with their future. We honor our dead today, but once we leave here today, we forget what it's all about. There's 365 days in a year, and we are veterans 365 days not a year, not just our memorial. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Stan. I appreciate it. So next, we've got a few housekeeping notes before we move on. Because we're inside, our ceremonial salute, don't worry, it will not be a 21-gun salute. It will be a ceremonial salute inside. Wreath laying will be afterwards. And then we'll go, after I do the annual roll call, we'll do the ceremonial salute inside, echo taps, and then the national anthem, and then the benediction. So as we start to close out our Memorial Day service, I'm about to go over our annual roll call of over 20 veterans that our community lost this last year. Many of them were business owners, some of them were crossing guards, some of them were, one of the main reasons we have a memorial here in town. So as we are reading off these names, let's think of them and the families that are still here in East Bridgewater. And, it takes a village even after our veterans are gone. John B. Arnold III, Navy, World War II. John R. Blood, Army, Vietnam. Richard L. Caulfield, Navy, Vietnam. Richard F. Coppell, Marine Corps, Vietnam. Paul H. Corey, Air Force, Vietnam. Ernest J. Daly, Army, Korea. Gerald P. Forand, Navy, Vietnam era. James W. Havens, Navy, Vietnam. Paul Hallinan, Navy, Vietnam. Charles A. Heath, Air Force, Vietnam. Alfred E. Jacobs, Army, World War II. Francis J. Kenny, Army, Vietnam. Russell L. King, Air Force, Vietnam. Howard G. Lee, Army, Vietnam. Kevin J. McLaughlin, Navy, Vietnam. George W. Miller, Navy, Vietnam. David A. Perkins, Marine Corps, Korea. Robert L. Teague, Navy, Korea. William F. Saba, Army, peacetime. Thomas Whitman, Marines, Vietnam. All that can, please rise for the national anthem. thank the concert band, and I'd like to welcome Father Paul Ring up to close our ceremony out with a benediction.
My friends, let us continue to pray. Good and gracious Creator God, we thank you for this time, this ceremony, this moment in time to remember those men and women of our armed forces who gave their lives so that we might be free. May we take these commemorations, these speeches, these musical selections to heart by living them out each and every day and living under the freedoms that we do with a spirit of thanksgiving for all that they have given us in giving of themselves. May we never forget, may we always remember and always honor, celebrate, and commemorate their lives by living in the full freedoms and by offering those freedoms to all whom we meet. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Just want to say in closing, thank you all for your time today. It means a great deal to our community. We will see you guys back here again next year, and we do have the parade this year, so let's do it big. Thanks. Have a great night, everybody.